Hi guys! I'm so excited to be doing this Easter craft with you. I tried to come up with something that's pretty simple that you'll enjoy, that uses mostly things you can find around your house. I know I haven't left my house in 20 some days and I was able to find these things, so hopefully you'll be able to kind of adapt some of the items and we'll be able to come up with something super cute. So what I have here is, the first thing you'll need is a piece of cardboard, and I don't know about you, but I have been crazy quarantine shopping online, so I've been getting lots of deliveries to my house. So all I did was take a piece of one of the boxes from one of my orders that I got delivered. So it's about this size. And if you have something bigger, you can make it bigger. If you have a piece that's smaller, you can make it smaller. It really doesn't matter what size you have. I also have some tissue paper. These were the only springy colors that I could find for our bunny's headband. But again, if you have other colors that you want to use, that will work. Or if you just have regular construction paper, that would work too. But I'm gonna be using these 3-color tissue paper. I also have a pair of scissors. I have acrylic paint. Whatever kind of paint you have at home will work. We're just gonna be painting the cardboard. And I made my bunny blue. But again, you can make your bunny any color you want to. I'm gonna go with like a pastel blue, so I'm gonna be adding some white to my blue, but again, you could use whatever you have. Paintbrush for our paint, and a glue gun. If you don't have a glue gun, Elmer's glue or a glue stick, that'll do the trick as well. An optional thing is, if you want to make your bunny like a door hanger, if you have some string or twine hanging around, you could use that as the hanger for your bunny. So that's optional. If you don't have it, no big deal. And again, if you don't have a piece of cardboard, you could use paper, poster board, whatever you have hanging around, we can make it work. So the first thing we're going to start with is our cardboard or our paper or our poster board, whatever it is that you are using. And we are going to be drawing the shape of the bunny's head on our cardboard first. Now, I'm going to be using this side of the cardboard because the other side has some residue on it from the packaging. So since this is going to be the front of my bunny's face, I'm actually going to draw it on the back so that when I cut it out, I don't see the lines that I drew for my bunny's face. So this is the back, but this is where I'm going to be tracing the shape of the bunny's head. I'm going to start with a pretty good sized circle down towards the bottom. And just to make sure that I have a pretty even circle, I grabbed a bowl and I'm actually just going to trace around that bowl first. And you can use whatever you have at home to trace. I'm just going to be using a Sharpie. This is an old bowl, so if it gets some Sharpie on it, I'm okay with it. So I have my circle. This is the main part of the bunny's head. Then I'm going to add the ears coming off of the top. So the ear shape is sort of like a leaf. It's a curve that goes up towards the corner and then comes back down with another curve. And you want those two curves to come to a point. If you don't want pointy ears, you could always do rounded bunny ears. I think I actually am going to do some rounded bunny ears. So I'm going to start towards the middle of my circle. And I'm just going to draw kind of like a half of an oval shape and bring it back down to my circle. And I'm going to try and do the same exact thing over here on this side, over that glue. And voila, I have my bunny's head so far. Now, before we go any further, I just want to remind you guys that if you need to pause the video to get caught up, you can absolutely do that. That's the great thing about these kinds of videos, is that if you need to pause to do something, you can, and then you can jump back in. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my really strong muscles, and I'm going to cut out my bunny's head. Now remember, you don't want to cut off its ears. So this line here that connects the ear to the head, I'm not going to cut that. Same thing over here. I'm not going to cut this part. I'm going to cut around the circle, up around the ear, around my other ear, and then back around the circle. Okay, so I have my bunny cut out, and this is the side that I traced the shape on. So this is actually going to be the back. So I'm going to flip it over to the front so that I don't see all of those lines that I had drawn originally. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to put our first layer of paint on the front of our bunny. Now, if you're using a poster board or a piece of paper that's already that color, then you can actually skip this step. But if it's not the color you want, then you will want to paint the front of your bunny. So what I have is just like an extra scrap piece of cardboard and my paints. And what I'm going to do is I'm just gonna mix a pastel blue on my cardboard. And I'm gonna do that by using 3 parts of my color, 1 part white to get a pastel color. So whatever kind of paint you're using, whatever color paint you're using, if you want to make it a pastel color, just add a little bit of white. And you can always add more white if you want it to be a little bit lighter. Alright, so I have my color mixed. I'm ready to add the first layer of paint. And again, when I'm doing this, I just want to make sure I cover up all the brown of the cardboard. And if you're using acrylic paint like I am, it should dry pretty fast once you get that first layer on. But if you have tempera paint or spray paint, that will work as well. And I am going to make sure that I get the edges of my cardboard too. You'll notice I put a piece of paper under my bunny here because I don't want to make a mess on my table. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish this first layer. I'm going to let it dry a little bit. I'm going to add a quick second layer because it's actually covering pretty nicely. And then I will show you the next step. Okay, so my bunny is dry. I did 1 layer of paint. It covered really well. And then I just went back and touched up a little bit here and there where it needed. So now it's time to add the flower crown on the top of our bunny's head. And the first thing I'm going to do that is I'm going to take my tissue paper, whichever colors you're using, and I'm going to cut them into squares. And I'm going to do different size squares. I'm going to do like 1 inch by 1 inch, and then I'll do some bigger ones like 2 inches by 2 inches. And I'm just going to cut a bunch of all 3 colors. some squares cut up of each color. They're by no means perfect squares, but that's okay because we're gonna be kind of crinkling them up anyway. And I also have my glue gun plugged in and ready to go. If you're using a glue gun, please be careful or make sure you're asking an adult to help you. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna kind of layer our squares to make the flowers for the crown. So first thing I'll do is I will take this square and I'm going to just wrap it around my finger like so that it when I take it off it is folded up like this, and then I can put a little dot of hot glue up near the bottom of my bunny's ear, in between the head and the ear, and then I can go ahead and stick that on there. And then if I'm quick enough, I could grab another one of a different color, wrap it around my finger, and stick it in there as well. Another thing you could do is if you start with a larger square, let's say I start with a large purple and I wrap it around my finger, do a dot of glue, dot of glue, I stick the purple in there, and then I can open that purple up a little bit, a little bit more glue in there, and then I could add a different color inside so that it layers some different colored tissue paper. Whoop. So I'm just gonna keep layering and adding some of those tissue paper squares right along this area of my bunny's head, just until I feel like I have the look of a flower crown that I'm going for so far. Okay, so I have the tissue glued down for the flower crown for my bunny, and I just came across some green construction paper I have laying around. I don't have any green tissue paper, I would have used that, but I did find some green paper, and I'm just gonna cut a few little leaf shapes to glue around some of my flowers. You obviously do not have to do this. If you don't have any green paper, not a big deal. But if you wanted to add a few leaves as a little extra touch, then you can. Okay, so I added some leaves to my flower crown, and the last thing I need to do is I'm just gonna draw a little heart right in the middle of my circle for my bunny's nose. I'm just doing a nose because that is the look that I like. If you want to do a full bunny face, that's fine too. I'm just using a Sharpie marker. You could use any color that shows up on your bunny. I have this like navy blue color that I'm going to use. And I'm just gonna do it right here in the middle for its nose. And then I'm gonna go ahead and fill it in. And your bunny is finished. The last thing that I'm gonna show you, and again, this is optional if you have string or yarn, if you wanna make it a door hanger, is I'm just gonna flip it over to the back very quickly here. And I'm going to glue my string, I'm gonna glue hot glue one end to the back of each ear. So I'm gonna try and make it as even as possible. Just gonna put a little dot here and over here, put a little dot, and I'm going to push my string down into the glue and let it dry. And there you have it. Cute little Easter Bunny door hanger for inside your home or outside your home. I hope you guys had as much fun as I did. See you later.